Welcome back to TechNet Radio. In today's Community Corner episode, John Weston chats with Laurie Firmin, an HR corporate recruiter with Antares Technology Solutions and the student liaison to local universities of the Baton Rouge chapter of AITP. Listen in as John and Laurie chat about the benefits of joining IT user groups, the learning opportunities available to students and professionals, and what makes a resume pop in front of a recruiter's eyes. John, the mic is yours.
Hello and welcome to today's TechNet Radio, today's Community Corner. This is John Weston with Microsoft, and today's on our Community Corner I have Laurie Firmin from Baton Rouge, Louisiana with us. Welcome, Laurie.
Hey, John.
So a little bit before I'd like to get you to introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about your background and what do you do for a day job?
Well, I'm from New Orleans. I have a degree in sales and marketing. I've worked in Houston for a little while with Texas Instruments for about 5 years. Got married to an LSU boy, moved back to Baton Rouge, worked for a software company selling packaged software, and then I started with Antares in 1999, and I've been here ever since.
Wow, that's great. Tell us, what does Antares do? Are they a solution provider?
We do custom software development, but basically what we do is offer IT solutions to clients. Whatever that may be. So it's more of a consulting company.
Gotcha. So it's a consulting IT firm based there in Baton Rouge. Do you guys just have Baton Rouge, or is it anywhere else besides Baton Rouge?
We have an office in New Orleans. We have an office in Houston. We have about 40 employees. We're not very, very big, but we're very active.
That's great. And so I know your boss, the president of Antares, is the president there of the Baton Rouge chapter of AITP, which is Association of IT Professionals. I'm a member of that association here in our Dallas office. So tell me about the Baton Rouge chapter of AITP.
The Baton Rouge chapter existed a while back and then was reborn about 3 years ago. The chapter's focused on education at all levels. Professional, college, high school. We have a very active board. We do a lot, for the student chapters and for different community organizations and stuff.
So does the group have a website?
We do. We do. It's AITPBatonRouge.org.
Okay, that's pretty easy. AITPBatonRouge.org. That's easy to remember. So are you an officer, or what's your current role with AITP?
I am on the board of directors, and then I am the student liaison to the chapter, to the student chapters. We support 4 universities: LSU, Louisiana Tech, Northwestern, which is NSU, and what's the other one? ULL, Lafayette.
Gotcha. Okay, so the AITP has chapters at colleges. So why do students want to be a member of something like AITP?
Well, for the students, I believe it's a networking thing and
Gotcha.
Obviously an education thing. We provide speakers. We do technical presentations to the students. They do a lot of fundraisers, and then the competitions alone, the AITP competitions is what they like to. You have to be a member to do those, right? So.
Okay, so the students go and compete against other students during all kinds of different competitions as part of AITP. That's great, and I'm sure a lot of them find jobs after college by being a member of AITP.
It's funny you should say that because I was in Houston last week at the SharePoint user group meeting. Antares was a sponsor, and I saw one of the students that came with me to the competition last year, and he was hired at Exxon in Houston, and so he started working this year. He graduated in December. And so when he walked through the door, I said, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "Well, I joined this user group, and you're going to be so proud of me. I joined the AITP organization in Houston." So
that's great.
I think that's what it's all about, for them to be professionals when they graduate and actually be on the other end.
Yeah. So here in Dallas, our AITP chapter, our current president's a young guy. He's just been out of college a couple of years, and how he found his first job was through AITP. He was the president of his local student chapter, joined the professional association, and that's how he got his first job out of college. So it's a great connection for him. I know Antares supports other user groups there in Baton Rouge. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We support the .NET user group, the SharePoint user group in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, and Houston. Antares sponsors these events, SharePoint Saturday, SQL Saturday. Antares allows me, which is great for me, a lot of work time to do these things as part of my job. So I get real heavily involved in a lot of the events that they put on. SharePoint Saturday in New Orleans is this Saturday, and then we have, the SQL and .NET Saturdays, all the user group meetings. We have a lot of developers who are trying to get their MVPs, so they do a lot of speaking. And so I have a list of developers who are like, okay, here's my topics, and get me some speaking gigs because I'm looking for those, trying to get that under my belt. So we're very supportive to those groups.
That's great. So, I mean, obviously y'all are a consulting company, but why is community so important to your company?
Well, with Antares, they're very big on continuing education and professional growth. And so the user groups and AITP, that's what that's all about. It's all about, learning, education, bettering your...
Improving yourself.
Improving yourself.
That's great. That's really neat when you have a company that's owned by people that really value that kind of stuff. So let's talk a minute go back about to your AITP chapter for a second. It obviously, as you said, it was kind of died off, and then 3 years ago was reborn. I've been to a couple of meetings, and they've been very packed. A lot of people coming to the lunch meetings. What do you think makes it so successful?
I think the active board helps. We're not only the board members, but we do a lot of the work, and we get involved in a lot of the activities that we try to put together. We have about 35 members, and we try to listen to the members when we're choosing our speakers. So we, just like you, we get great speakers. So that gives people reason to come to our meetings.
That's great. And so when do y'all do a dinner and pizza, or do you do what kind? One time a day does your group meet?
Lunch. We do a lunchtime meeting. The president, Will, he usually runs the meetings. He has everybody. What he likes to do is get everybody to stand up, introduce themselves, give them kind of a chance to say what their company does to the whole group. So we kind of go around the room and do the introductions, make any kind of announcements. Usually we're bragging on some of our students is what we do a lot. And then we go right to the speaker and try to get everybody in and out of there pretty quickly.
That's great. Yeah, so you can make it happen at lunch and people don't have to interrupt their personal time or their evening time from family to do that. That's great.
Right.
So also, you've helped out the student chapters a lot. To me, some of the focus of AITP really is about giving back, and one way to give back is to help the next generation of IT folks. So what kind of things have you done with the student chapters? I know you said you provided speakers, but what else, how do you help keep these student chapters going as students come in and out and that kind of stuff?
And the students coming in and out is very challenging. It's difficult to maintain continuity from year to year because you have a different president. Some graduate, move on. They don't meet during the summer. But what I try to do is I keep up with the presidents, and I get them to send me, when they're doing their elections, I either try to go to that meeting when they're doing elections and electing for the next year so that I can meet the incoming president. I try to help them with fundraising. One time, 2 years ago, I believe, ULL designed a T-shirt, so I took the T-shirt back to the chapter and sold some T-shirts for them to get, some money for their chapter.
That's great.
I rented a van and took a big group to the conference, the Region 3 conference in Houston last year. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So Region 3 is the part of the country that you guys are in AITP, and they have a annual student conference. This year it happened to be over in Houston. So you guys, your professional chapter funded a van to help get the students over there?
Yes, it was actually a combination. The AITP chapter put some money up, and then Antares put some money up as well.
That's great.
And again, using my time, just Antares donating my time is a big thing, because it's easy for me to keep up with it and do those sorts of things if I don't have to do it outside of my normal job.
Gotcha.
And we took them. The kids have never. I took a group from ULL and a group from LSU, and they had never competed before. It was pretty interesting to see them, the schools get together and share ideas, and then Northwestern, they compete all the time, and they met us there. So the 3 schools were together, and one of the students didn't bring a laptop and wanted to compete, and so it was one of these. I sent a text to one of the guys from NSU, and he happened to not be competing and gave them a laptop, and it was just really cool to see them come together and overcome these obstacles that, they ran across.
Yeah, and it sounds like they were pretty fired up after that. I mean, I've talked to you, in that, your colleges that you work with, those student chapters want to host that regional event in the future, and so it sounds like they must have had a great experience going to Houston.
They did. ULL ended up placing in some of the events, and it's kind of a funny story because they thought they did horrible. And so Friday, Saturday after, Friday night after the competition and everything, we kind of went to dinner and went out a little bit, and they were all saying, "Oh, we did horrible. There's no way we got anything," and they wanted to leave. They wanted to leave first thing in the morning. So I'm like, "Look, you guys, whatever y'all want to do, if everybody agrees, we'll leave." So that's what they did. We left, got in the car, load up, and we leave. And so right before I got to the bridge in Baton Rouge, I got a phone call from Bob Daniel, who's on our board, and he stayed for the awards. And he's like, "You guys placed. They got like second place." And they were so excited. And so it was homecoming for them, which was another reason they wanted to come back. And of course, there was an LSU game as well, so they wanted to come back for football. So I called them, and they were all together still with the faculty advisor tailgating. So it was just really kind of fun to call them and say, "Guys, y'all placed. Y'all won some money."
That's great. That
so
sounds like they had a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really good, and they're really psyched to host the 2012. So we're trying to get the information and bid on it and host it for 2012.
That's good. Well, I want to kind of switch from community mode for a second to talk a little bit about technology in Antares again. So I know part of what your job is, besides helping out the community there, is doing recruiting. What kind of skills is a consulting firm like yours looking for these days? What's hot? What are the skill sets people need to have today?
The skill set that's hot right now is definitely SharePoint resources. Administrators, developers, architects, all of the above. We are to the point where we're trying to get people in who, not to joke, but can you spell it? Because if you can spell it, we'll teach you the technology kind of thing. It's really hard to find people. I placed an ad on Monster on Monday, where typically I would have already gotten probably 80 resumes. I've gotten two resumes.
That sure says that times are changing. The economy must be getting better if that's hard to find resources. That's kind of good and bad. I mean, it's a tough place to be in, but it's good that there's demand for technology out there.
Definitely. There definitely is. But with us, we are always looking for smart people. People who want to learn new skills, keep up to date with the latest technologies, self-starters. We need technical resources who want or like the client interaction. Sometimes that's harder to find than a technology, someone with a skill set, because skill sets can be taught, right? We can send them to class and get the skills.
So how do you find that self-starterness on a resume? I mean, is it education? Is it certification, experience? What makes somebody stand out when you're going through those 80 resumes?
Certifications are big for us.
Gotcha.
I mean, we require certifications. Microsoft.
So if they don't already have them, they can get them. I know Cody, one of the guys that works for y'all there, just got a bunch more certifications. So you encourage people to get certifications if they don't even already have them, right?
Exactly. We pay for it. We send them to, if we, we either buy them a book, and usually they're self-starters, so they read the book and schedule the test, and they take it, and it's a win-win situation. It only helps them and us. So certifications are big, and I guess second would be education. We like them to have some kind of a technology degree.
Right.
That way we know that they have first of all the commitment, and second the foundation. That IT foundation. Third, I guess the third thing on a resume that we look at is, the community involvement that could be on there.
That's great. If they've ever spoken to New Four, they're
Exactly.
members of different societies and associations. That's good.
If they've written a book.
Yeah, that's neat. So tell me, have to ask the question, what's your favorite Microsoft technology that you like?
Outlook.
You live in it every day, I bet.
I don't know what I would do without it. That's me. It's all about my schedule. So.
Yeah. Keeping track of everything. I don't know what I would do if I couldn't get into Outlook.
Exactly.
They wouldn't exist. Well, that's great. I always get asked these on how to get a hold of people, so let me first give out my contact information, and then I'll let you do the same. If people want to email me, it's jweston or john.weston, either one works, at microsoft.com. I have a blog out there at blogs.technet.com /jweston. Also have a new one I just put up there, johnweston.us. Is a secondary blog that I've started to put some other things out there. I'm also on Twitter at the TechNet Guy, so you can look me up on Twitter. And Laurie, you want to tell us on how people can get a hold of you or Antares or your AITP chapter?
Antares' website is antaresnet.com. My email is lfirmin, that's Firmin, at antaresnet.com. Unfortunately, I don't blog. And our AITP chapter is the AITPBatonRouge.org.
AITPBatonRouge.org. That's pretty easy. So I want to thank you, Laurie, for joining us today on TechNet Radio on the Community Corner. Thanks, and have a great day.
Thank you.